So it's mid-July, which is the perfect time to get a few more turns in on the snow. I'm squeezing a few more days out of my IKONPass at Valle Nevado resort in the Andes Mountains near Santiago, Chile. Since we're in the Southern Hemisphere, it's midwinter. In this video, I'll show you around Valle Nevado, as well as go through the logistics of planning a trip so you can get some riding in long after most Northern Hemisphere folks have put their gear away. A typical ski season at Valle Nevado runs from June to September. It's at an altitude of over 3,000 meters, that's about 10,000 feet, and typically has excellent snow conditions. I'm here in mid-July, and currently they have a 145 centimeter or 57-inch base. We arrived Monday morning and skied Tuesday through Friday, so we didn't have to deal with weekend crowds. The setup of the resort is a bit different than any I've seen in Europe or North America. Since the entire complex was developed around the same time in a previously uninhabited area, there is no town or nearby village. It's just the ski resort, 2 hotels, and a few apartment buildings on an isolated mountain plateau. Because of the high elevation, there's absolutely no trees or vegetation anywhere in the resort. It reminded me a bit of riding in the upper areas of Zermatt, Switzerland, where it's just a huge open mountain face with a number of wide groomed trails and unlimited off-piste riding in between the runs. The resort has a vertical drop of 810 meters, it's about 2,600 feet, and it has pretty diverse terrains suited for all skiing levels, from beginners to advanced. Although in my 4 days there, it seemed the average ability of skiers and snowboarders was quite a bit lower than most North American resorts. But considering the small number of South American ski areas and challenges in accessing them, this is completely understandable. Valle Nevado has a pretty eclectic lift selection for a modern resort. I can't recall riding a surface lift in North America for at least the last 2 decades, but Valle Nevado actually has quite a few of them. They have a short 6-person gondola, which was actually closed all 4 days we were here, 5 chair lifts, but only one of them is a high speed. The other 4 are fixed grip. They have 7 PAMA lifts, sometimes called J-bars or button lifts, a few of which are quite long, with 5 to 8 minute rides, and then 3 beginner magic carpets. We had IKON passes, so paid nothing for our lift tickets. We just had to present our passes at the ticket window, and then we're given resort RFID cards with our 4-day passes loaded. But if you don't have an IKON or Mountain Collective pass, non-discounted lift tickets from the window were relatively affordable compared to the US or Canada. We came midweek in July, and although the resort was definitely busy, it wasn't packed. We never waited more than 5 minutes in a lift line, and runs were typically not crowded. Although walking by the packed restaurants around into mid-afternoon, I was definitely glad we had our own apartment and kitchen. Snow conditions were soft and spring-like, but not slushy. Highs all 3 days were around 6 centigrade, or around 40 Fahrenheit, and lows were slightly above freezing. Thankfully, they had a sufficient base, so we didn't have to be on guard for rocks. There was hardly any winds, and it was bluebird to moderately cloudy skies all 4 days. So how do you plan your own trip here and keep costs as affordable as possible? Well, Valle Nevado is in the Chilean Andes, but is also relatively close to Santiago, only about a 90-minute drive away. But it's a serious climb of over 2,400 meters. That's almost 8,000 feet. Although we rented a car and drove ourselves, if you're not comfortable driving on snow or on mountain roads, you might consider getting a shuttle or a car service to transport you. There's over 50 hairpin switchbacks, and I'm guessing this road can be seriously sketchy if the weather is poor. On weekends and holidays, police regulate traffic to be one-way driving uphill from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. and one-way going downhill from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's no surprise that since it's an isolated, standalone resort, accommodations and food can be a bit pricey. This is where driving yourself and staying in a self-catering apartment can save you a significant amount of money. After looking at the prices of the hotels, we opted to rent an Airbnb. Like pretty much all accommodation in this compact resort, it is slopeside and would qualify as ski in, ski out. For this 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment that slept 6 people and had underground parking, after all the taxes and fees, it was a little bit under $500 US per night. But there's definitely cheaper, less spacious lodging options available. Another perk from staying in the mountains is that Valle Nevado has some of the best mountain sunsets you'll ever see. The smog way down in Santiago creates some amazing pinks, oranges, and yellows on the horizon, which you can see while breathing the pure mountain air of Valle Nevado. Also, the lines for rental equipment up on the mountain were large. If you rent, I'd suggest getting it in Santiago before heading up. On the drive from Santiago, we stopped at the Líder supermarket, which is the Chilean version of Walmart, and affordably loaded up on all the food and beverages we'd need during our 4-night stay in the mountains. But if you're in a pinch, there is a small mini market at the resort, but its selection is very limited and the prices are high. If you're coming from North America or Europe, Valle Nevado is a trek to get to. However, if you appreciate skiing and riding in high altitude locations with diverse terrain and are willing to invest a little in the experience, it's really an amazing choice. And to be able to get your time on snow when it's summer in the Northern Hemisphere makes it all the more incredible. Thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned for more travel content coming soon.